We'll call this meeting to order of the Latimer Brown House Restoration Ad Hoc Committee. And Mr. King, would you mind saying the invocation, please?
Sure. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to come together and serve the citizens of Sumner County. And we thank you for William and Martha Brown and their generous gift that they left to Sumner County and the legacy they leave. Lord, we ask that any discussion or action we take tonight would be grounded in truth, and only then can we truly honor the memory of Mr. and Mrs. Brown. And so we thank you, and we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, I have a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Klein. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion for approval of minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Klein. Have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner, Mr.
Yeah,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Recognition of the public. We have Mr. Thomas Latimer. Come on, Thomas.
The historian.
Yes, everybody's seen me before. I'm Thomas Latimer, 264 Hess Road, Fort Wayne. I just have a couple of questions. I won't take up much time. Number one, how can anybody in 8 years' time take a beautiful, picturesque home and turn it into abandoned wasteland? That's what's happened. The second question, I'm not expecting an answer, but the second question, if Mr. Brown gave this money 8 years ago and the property and nothing at all has been done, was it a gift or a scam? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Latimer. All right, that concludes recognition of the public. Old business, well, I guess we have none, but it ties into new business. So, new business item A, discussion Latimer Brown House RFQ, RFP, and the TDEC PRM, which is the Permittee Responsible Mitigation. I'll make a motion just to suspend the rules so we can ask questions, talk on the
Second.
All right, second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Dustin, obviously we were supposed to have the RFQ bid opening on Monday, and we had a little bit of a unexpected surprise. Explain to
Okay, so on August 11th, per the RFQ, anybody who wanted to place a bid was to meet at the Latimer Brown House to take a tour. At that point in time, Mr. Scott Shamrock with the Department of Finance discovered there were the Keep Out Riparian Buffer Zone signs that were placed across the property. So at that point in time, we had reached out to TDEC to ask if that was one of their signs that they had put up. And we requested a meeting with them on August 14th. On August 14th, we had the meeting. Department of Finance attendance was the finance director as well as the director of law.
So who did you meet with from TDEC?
With TDEC, we met with the project manager. Her name is Sydney, as well as Ed, who is her supervisor, and then his supervisor was in attendance as well via phone. So at that point in time, we were advised that TDEC was not aware of who placed the signs on the property. The log cabin was not mentioned as part of the original permit. There were debits and credits that had to be done because the two schools were building near creek beds. They wanted to offset any of the runoff from the water.
Can you explain what you mean by debits and credits when they bought this land 12 years ago and built this,
So if you're building the property on an area that you're creating an impervious surface near a creek, you're wanting to offset that impervious surface elsewhere. And so that itself would be a debit because you're creating a need, and then you'd have to offset it with a credit. Now you can purchase a credit through TDEC or a landholder, or you can offset it somewhere else on your land. And they chose the latter, which is to offset it on the land or on the property.
where do they offset it?
So if you're looking at the original drawings, it appears that they had offsets near what they are determining to be the creek beds, and they have increased a buffer area to help offset the impervious surface that was built by the schools, or that occurred due to the building of the schools.
When you mean creek bed, you mean down through here?
because the creek is on the other side of the roadbed opposite where the.
So they're saying that there are creeks also on this side of the property as well. So we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So looking at it, that was one of the areas of concern is how far do the new buffer zones go? Does it encroach onto the structure for the log cabin that needs to be renovated, number one? And number two, is there a way for us to still get back there to there? If the buffer zone increased, do we still have ingress egress to access the structure that is there? And so at last Friday, Ed with TDEC said that we could not do anything at this point in time because he thought it was in there, number one. And there was some uncertainty exactly where the building was in the new plan. And so with that in mind, with the RFQ not stating that we now have to worry about this new riparian buffer, which was not included in our scope for those that are wanting to bid on the project, we closed the RFQ, so that way we could reassess the situation and also add those elements into the RFQ so that all parties that wanted to bid on it could. And so at that point in time, after that was done, Sydney had responded back saying the house was not in a riparian buffer zone. However, TDEC did not mention about the ingress or egress. And so we're still wondering how we're going to get back to the property. A question has gone back to TDEC and requesting it. So, to keep everybody on the same page, if you were to Google TDEC and Data Viewer, you would come across this page. And they have a Data Viewer page. And so what the Data Viewer page is, you have a list of data viewers to choose from, whether it's solid waste management. In this case, it is the Division of Water Resources. If you were to click on that link, it would bring you here, and then you would have to find the permit. On the left-hand side, the permit number is NRS 20.029 ARAP.
Where are you, which page?
Page 1, right-hand side.
Where you thumbs at.
Okay.
And so that is the area that are looking into and concerned about. If you were just to put in Sumner County, you would get multiple ones, not only for us being Sumner County government, but you would also have some for the school district. And so this is the one that has caused us to have a raised eyebrow. If you were to look, the permit itself was to expire on June 30th of this year. However, based upon the documentation that is in the viewer, we have, at this point in time, Mr. Long with the school system has submitted a new PRM for aquatic resource alteration permits. I have yet to see that permit or what they have presented. Ed with TDEC has said that he would be reaching out to them to make sure that make sure the house was not included in the buffer zone, and that is where we currently are. So right now we're in the holding pattern. We're wanting to move forward to do the RFQ and to include the new information and to make sure the house is accessible as well as maintained. But right now we're concerned about the accessibility portion, because even if we were to drive off the road, we still have the curb to worry about and trying to get into the land that way, should there be a way to access it via the main road.
Whenever this property was donated, sold, mixed together, and Mr. Brown had specified what he wanted to be done with the house, why, when they were doing all the layout for the schools and everything, did they not take the time to go ahead and put an entrance into the house right there?
That would be a question that you would need to address with the school system. The best way that TDEC has described the situation to me is, think of it as a joint checking account. When they're looking at everything being done, you know, your spouse can write as many checks as they want to, and so in this case, the school system was writing the checks through their consulting firm, being the Davy Group, to create the buffer zone and the plans for the area.
It make you think, you're just looking at it from a certain point of view, that they never had any intention of doing anything with the house, if they just want to leave it set there. And did they ever determine who put the signs up? I mean, if TDEC doesn't know, is somebody driving around with a truckload full of TDEC signs, they just hammer up where they want to?
If it was a TDEC sign, being a former TDEC employee, we would have the QR code on the side, so it's not a TDEC sign, and it wasn't done by the county government, so at this point in time that we're aware of. So that means that another interested or vested party may have put up the signs.
The only people who would have put that up is the school district. So, you know, I know that we need to talk in plain language here, and, I mean, some people at this table are not allowed to do that, but I am. And so, Mr. Owens, I'm looking at Reach A, 600 lineal feet, that says it's a stream habitat enhancement, planting within buffer and watershed. Stream habitat enhancement, I don't even know what that means, but that is not a stream.
There are no streams.
It's a dry gully, is what it is, growed up dry gully.
It's not even a gully.
It's drainage ditch.
It's a low area.
Yeah, and it is swampy down next to the road right
If-
there.
If there's a big concern about the environment with that and everything, what about all the chemicals that have been dumped on it to kill all the vegetation and everything? There's been a considerable amount of chemicals dumped in there, especially close to the school. You would think that they would be a little, the water and the school, you'd think they'd be a little bit sensitive to that.
If I may,
Sure.
I think we need to focus on here is the fact this is already in play because people put it in play many years ago. We're trying to get a reevaluation, for lack of a better word, and a alignment of this buffer.
Mm-hmm.
So we could do the who shot John all day long, we're still at the same point. So until we get TDEC to get on board with us as a co-owner of the property to do this realignment, we're gonna be in a holding pattern until then.
Well, here's the problem as I see it, Mr. Sidler. Don Long jumped first, and so all the correspondence is working through him. He beat us to the finish line on this issue because we didn't even know about it. And so now the control appears to be through the school district as a co-owner with us. And how do we get a fair seat at the table to talk about this when we cannot get their attorneys, Mr. Long? The only one we can ever talk to is Mr. Langford, and that's about half the time. So we're being stalled here, we all know it. We might as well call a spade a spade. Neither Reach A or Reach B are part of, neither of those are creeks. And you can say that the green slashed area is, what do they call that? A contributing
Forest and native range.
yeah. That's basically the area that is marked off with signage. Well, that was cattle grazing to the best of my knowledge. Mike, you would know that better.
That's
than
exactly
anybody.
what it was, it's pasture land.
So now all of a sudden, it's protected because of the blue
Salamander.
salamander.
Are you
And
serious?
that's ridiculous. No salamander could live up there after the poison they put on that grazing area 3 months ago when Mike was trying to mow it. And so we're being stalled here. And we need to just push forward and have meetings with whomever we need to have meetings with and challenge whatever's going on here, because it's like this kind of white open space parks lawn area where Reach A 600 feet, the R is in part of it. You can see Mr. Brown's old driveway, so that's basically where the house is. Well, that's called open space. That is not a riparian buffer zone. And so why we can't put a driveway there, access the house that's clearly not in a riparian buffer zone, you know, if if Reach A did have a buffer zone, from what I read on T-Deck, that should be a maximum of about 60 feet wide.
I think
The
that's
house-
correct.
Huh?
I think that's correct, but the problem is at 60 foot,
Doors has to be locked.
the 60-foot buffer runs on a piece of that property, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, a piece of what the lot that the house is on?
Mm-hmm.
I seriously doubt.
I don't see, I mean, where are you getting that from?
I'm just going off prior discussions with T-Deck.
Okay. I seriously doubt the house or the driveway is on the riparian buffer zone if there was a stream there. And like I say, that's the first thing that needs to be challenged. Every nuisance drainage area across a farm is not a riparian buffer zone.
Sorry guys, we've been here soon, with all the doors of the building are locked. Having a public meeting and all the doors locked.
So, you know, I'm ready to go to war on this because I'm so fit to be tied about it. But I want to do it right, but I want to do it because this is ridiculous that it's taking this long. So,
I have a question real quick, I'll interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Dustin, look at this handout you gave us from TDEC, I guess. It says on the May 15th, really, they've been working with Don Long and had put in a request to an aquatic resource alteration permit. So, so you're talking 3.5 months ago that this was, almost 4 months ago, this request was put in by Don Long, the school board. Like what were they requesting? What was he requesting? What is this, it didn't explain what the request was.
So the correct requests in the map itself are unavailable on Data Viewer. All we have access to right now is what is in front of us. So
We don't know what they were requesting.
we have not seen it, no, sir.
Well, I mean, in TDEC, can they not share that with us?
They have not shared it with us in one bit.
Have we asked for them to share it with us?
We've asked for it to be shared in all data, and they said all data that they can share right now is on Data Viewer.
Why is that? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is public property co-owned by the county as a co-owner in Juris Park. So I mean, I don't understand how they can prohibit us from seeing what's being requested.
That one I don't know. I mean, if that's something that.
I'll need to be a part of that
Yeah.
next conversation because we're co-owners, so I don't know why we're not getting the information.
They can't.
So
they
I
can't
have
keep
no
us from
idea.
having that.
Should that not have been brought forward to y'all whenever it was requested?
No, they had no reason to second guess it because they were an owner of the property.
Co-owner. So I guess,
Well, it's
But can you-
owner, co-owner, it's the same thing. That's all they see when you're walking in the door at T-Deck is, do you own the property? Yes.
sure. Well, to this point, can you follow up with Dustin, like, immediately to ask, like, okay, if they're not giving this to us, we need to crack some whips, but we need to see what Don Long actually applied for on May
Yeah.
15th, almost 4 months ago, because this is what's holding us up. Like, what are they trying to do?
I get it, yeah.
I would assume it's, I could be wrong, assume it's hostile to our intent to restore this, but I could be wrong. I'd be surprised.
Do we not have the right to, as co-owner of this property, to all documentation?
That's my whole
We
point.
do.
I don't know why we're not getting it.
Okay.
I was unaware of that.
Okay.
So I'll get with, or Dustin will remind me because I'll forget in 15 minutes, but,
I'll remind you.
I'm sure you will. But we'll get together. He's got some points of contact out there and I'll see what I can find out.
I have a question about the riparian buffer. You said it's a 60-foot
Width,
width.
up to, I guess.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at these park plans, right? They've got a paved access way here. Is the riparian buffer right there? And if so, would they have to, I guess, credit or debit that water runoff or whatever it is in order to put in a paved access way? How would that work? If right now it's a riparian buffer, but later they're going to turn it into a paved pathway, what's keeping them from going ahead and saying this riparian buffer we're going to move it, or you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, because on the original plans for their park plan, they
Yeah, I
had
have
a
it right
pavilion, they had a paved parking lot, they had lights, they had,
Yeah,
they
there's-
had all, an amphitheater, yeah, there's the park, this.
Yeah,
Stephen
there's a
had-
parking
so it's like-
lot, and so I'm like, wouldn't that disrupt the water and erosion by putting in all that?
What's different than
So-
what we're doing, trying to get access to the house, which is way less impactful than that?
Yeah, because all we're doing, or all this
I
body is
don't know
wanting
how
to do.
far they got with T-Deck on that submittal, because they were still, that's when all of this came up, was when they were submitting that, we were trying to figure out the conflict with the will. So I don't know that this ever got submitted to T-Deck. So they may not have looked at it, made any plans to it, so I don't know.
Stephen, how come you don't know anything being the school board member? They do not tell you about these?
There's
types of
not been
things?
any discussion or, as far as I know, any communication on this whatsoever. So there's not been any emails sent to the board. The board has not had it discussed in a study session. There's been nothing I've not been, there's been no discussion at all. So that's where it stands. So I don't know anything. I don't know anything about this application or this request that was made
So this is the first
by
you've
our
heard
project
about it?
manager. Yeah, I
He's
don't
a
know
school
anything
board
about it.
employee, and he's the first you've heard of this
Yes,
happening.
this is the first I've heard of this.
So
Yeah.
Eric, can you speak to this? If they can do things as a co-owner of the property, who is the co-owner of the property? The school board and the county commission?
I don't have the deed in front of me, I'm not exactly sure what the wording is, but I believe it's
That
the
needs
school
to be
board.
investigated, because if the school board is not making these decisions and it's being done unilaterally by one individual, whether it's Scott Langford or Don Long or whoever's doing these things, then that's not right.
Well, let's say for the sake of argument, it says school board, that's not gonna affect T-Deck in any way, shape, or form.
When they go in and apply for,
They're not gonna do a title search on every piece of property that comes across T-Deck's desk.
I'd have to look at, I have this document here. I have to double check, but it's a warranty deed, is that, and it says Sumner County and Sumner County Board of Education.
There you go,
So I
there,
don't
that's
know.
what it is, Sumner
Say
County
that.
Board of Education.
so these decisions should be being made by his board, and he should be aware of them and approve them before they take place.
Yeah, but you're getting out of my wheelhouse, I've got no authority over or purview over
No, I
them.
understand that, but likewise, I should be able to call T-Deck and ask these same questions. They should give me all the information too, just because I'm saying I'm authorized to do it. Nobody
Well,
says
I
I
think
am,
we're
but
reliving the same conversation. Yes, I agree with you 100%. That's why Dustin and I need to reach out and say,
Eric's
hey,
gonna-
I'm an owner too. Give me the info.
Yeah.
okay.
And that's what Dustin and I are gonna do.
I have to tell you, in conversation with,
Just real quick, Dustin does have a hard stop at 6,
Yeah,
instead of Eric,
yeah.
so I just want to be mindful. of
yeah,
that.
our contact, or what the website says our contact, is a gal named Clarissa. And she's trying to find this stuff out for us as well. And they're really in the dark, you know, they said they're not our signs. We're trying to figure out when this happened. The people who are in position now at TDEC had nothing to do with the original property design and everything. And so, you know, I just have to tell you, I think we're being hoodwinked here. This is Plan B, because Plan A didn't work.
Those signs have been made up in one of the county shops to look like a T-Deck sign, just placed
Well,
over.
these signs appeared a day or two after Mr. McClard asked County Mayor Isabel if he could mow the lawn.
Yep.
And did
Say
you
that one more
ask,
time, it was,
this is a couple months ago.
Okay.
When did you ask Langford to, or just?
No, I just asked the mayor.
So,
What I asked him, I said, can you see about mowing around the house? Because the grass was in the front, where it's real thick trees, probably that high. It was well over knee high in the back, where there's more sunshine. And he said he had turned that all over to the director of schools.
and then this sign shows up saying, absolute no mowing or vehicles allowed.
So are those signs stopping us from something right now?
Well, it says keep out.
No,
So,
I know.
mean, and it says in fines by the state wildlife in the state of
No,
Tennessee.
the signs aren't stopping us, but Dustin called TDEC, and TDEC is now
Yeah.
stopping us.
But because TDEC is investigating what these are.
No, they're making sure they know what.
Let's,
the
everybody just
repairing
need to forget about the
buffers are.
signs moving forward now,
Okay.
and nothing to do with this
I thought
conversation.
that came into
Nope.
it for some reason.
Yeah, back to my question with the riparian buffer, you've got a roadway. If you look at the property, there's
An existing driveway.
the driveway going
right
up
here.
to the property. That, I mean, clearly that's not a buffer.
No, it's gravel.
That's, yeah, I mean, that's been there. It's
A
not
couple hundred
affecting the
years.
water, directing the water or anything, and the vegetation, the natural vegetation that's, I guess, contributing to the creek flow and all that. What, are these signs, are they, I mean, what's the who's got jurisdiction authority with these signs? I mean, I can go to Walmart and get a sign that says no trespassing.
Well, we're not worried about signs.
I'm just saying, what,
The assumption is that whoever is in charge of the school board's personnel and maintenance of school
Yeah.
buildings is the person who went out there and did it at the instruction of Dr. Langford or Mr. Law. That's the assumption. I think it's a safe assumption.
Well, the problem is it's, for me, when I look at, I'm going to the codicil now. Okay, when I read the codicil, the county is to maintain the park with the historic home currently situated thereon being permanently maintained by the county.
Not the school.
So apparently something is stopping the county from doing what they're tasked to do legally by this codicil. That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, it seems like something is inhibiting what you guys are supposed to do. And is there not some legal recourse that would grant you the jurisdiction to go ahead and go in there and do what you're supposed to do? Go ahead and get the house, maintain the house.
to his
It says
point-
maintain the home.
To his point, that's kind of where I was going with, I guess I'll direct the question to Dustin is, why don't we just keep on proceeding and see who comes out and stops us? But what is TDEC, why has TDEC stopped us? Because a question was asked? Or why did they say stop?
So TDEC, when we reached out, we didn't know who put up the signs. We started that. And as soon as that came along, in the email thread, you'll see where it says from Ed, do not do any construction, do not proceed, because this is, right now, we think in the buffer zone. So
What buffer zone?
the riparian buffer zone that we're talking about.
So that was actually registered. The riparian buffer zone has nothing to do with these signs?
Correct.
It's actually a real thing, whereas the
It's a
signs
real
are up in
thing.
the air.
The
don't
signs are a
matter.
separate issue. What we know
Signs are
about the
fake,
signs
the
is
zoning
the end
is.
of the sign debate is the signs were not placed by TDEC. We have been told by the mayor, I believe, that the county didn't do it, and that leaves the school board. But we still do not know who placed those signs.
And this
out
is
there.
the riparian buffer zone?
That's markings of some of it, yes.
And
So, going to Stephen's point, the codicil and the will predate TDEC doing anything here, and the school doing anything here, and the instructions were to do this. So, whoever the consultant was failed to do this. TDEC failed to take that into account as well, legally, the codicil that was existing. So, all parties involved failed to actually look at what legally was set as a precedent, in my opinion. I guess that's how I see it. I might be oversimplifying it. So, going to your point, So, it's like, the question is like, I guess, what's next for TDEC? Obviously, the law director is going to get the information that they're withholding from us wrongfully. And so, like, you talking about they have to redraw boundaries. Your email talked about this and speak.
So the school system has hired the Davy Group to be their consultant, who is responsible for submitting all documentation to TDEC.
So what prohibits the county from doing the same and hiring our own consultant to redraw and do this since we're co-owner and since the joint checking account, we both can write checks out of the account?
I'm not saying you can't.
Okay.
you have
So
13
what?
votes to do it though.
Well, the citizens would be interested to see who wouldn't vote for that.
My question is, if you back up a little bit, like, let's pretend Mr. Brown didn't die. This work would be continuing on. It was his property. It's just a different ownership. Why is all this happening? And I have a feeling it's because Plan B, somebody triggered something to make something out of nothing, and they created an issue that's not an issue that could be tied up forever. You know, it could take as long as they want it to take. So I don't understand why we don't proceed just as a new owner with the same property guy wants to fix his house up, he's gonna go fix his house up, you know? I mean, I'll do it on my property, you do it on your property. I don't understand what changed with regards to the lay of the land and everything else, just because the house changed names. So
It's the project, it's the building of the school that changed everything. And so we both own the property, the county did and the school board did. All right, the property switches over. The schools go in, they do this big plan, they get with TDEC, they get with everybody they need to permit this and have it built, okay? And they do it on the complete swath of land. I guarantee you the county wasn't involved in that. So they had full run with all their applications and their permitting. So once that was done, that creates this map and this whole area we're talking about. Please interrupt me if I'm wrong.
You're good.
So this gets created. After the fact, we get into the deal with the will where I find that codicil problem. And then it creates its own problem. And at the very same time, the school board is trying to submit their Martha Brown Park with the amphitheater and everything. So they run a plat through. And I guarantee you that plat has something to do with this as well. But they had to get our approval as co-owner of the property, so commission ran it through and they got them approved under the guise, I believe, of finishing.
Sewer.
Oh, sewer, that's right, to bring up sewer, because the sewer had to be done to get the roads finished out there and everything else. So the county commission approved it. Then there was and it also included the park, I believe. So then the codicil comes up again and it's revisited that this is a county issue, even though the stuff is jointly owned. So all of this TDEC stuff got put into play long before this ever happened. Now we're wanting to figure out what exactly we can do, and that's when TDEC says, pull the reins on the horse, stop everything.
So not only was the house disregarded in the plans of the park, it was disregarded with the plans of the whole school.
We know that because
beginning.
of certain grants that were out there, that house was specifically excluded from the
There was never a
park.
plan to do anything.
If you look at the school's own documents, they specifically had to write it out because that grant wouldn't cover the house. Am I correct in that statement?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a correct statement.
Yes.
So that's why this went down the way it did. Who put the signs up? I mean, I have no legal basis to make this comment, but yeah, somebody's running front here trying to make this as difficult a process as possible.
They're doing a good job.
Okay, well, for the record, and for the listener and watcher, this is TDEC's definition and purpose of a riparian buffer zone. A riparian buffer zone is a protected area along an on-site water resource, which there's not one there, that can be temporary or permanent. Its primary function is to physically protect the water resource, which there is not one, and to act as a separator between the water body, here again, not one, and disturbance. Though not a sediment control, riparian buffers provide water quality benefits through filtration by the vegetation. These zones also protect banks and promote bank stabilization by slowing construction site runoff with vegetative resistance.
So how are they gonna call it a riparian buffer when they go out there and spray all that poison all over everything to kill all the growth?
Well, it gets
and
worse.
it runs down in there.
It gets worse. It says appropriate applications. Streams, wetlands, ponds, and reservoirs are required to have riparian buffer zones.
None of these are those.
Well, then, no, none, it doesn't apply to anything. And the stream's on the other side of the road.
It's
So,
a lowland.
By their own
I
definition.
think you're gonna need to get into offsets and credits now.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, explain to me what's their holdup.
So their holdup right now is they're looking to see how much area we have actually contributed to runoff area due to the schools being built and where that runoff is going to go. So the question is that runoff going into this riparian buffer to where the gullies are that are dry.
No, I can tell where it's going. It's going to Anthony Jones's house and his cow pond,
Yeah,
and then flooding
that's
him
exactly
out.
where it's
yeah.
going.
On to Long Hollow Pike and going across,
Upper Station Camp.
and flooding the neighbors' fields across because they did such a crappy job with their engineering and those detention ponds up there at the top. That's where it's going.
They took three.
They're
runoff-
flooding out the neighbors down below the
Through
hill.
storm drains.
They took three natural
it's flooding
runoff
out the
areas,
neighbors over
created
there.
two, and got rid of the third one and paved over the two and made them into storm drains and asphalt. So that's why he lost his back water source and is now getting bombarded from the front side that doesn't have any kind of plan.
Yeah, they diverted water way above and beyond what is allowable by, they basically took his water rights from.
None of the water goes to that low spot. I mean,
Right.
So
naturally.
we know where it's being diverted. We know where the credits went.
It's all going to asphalt.
But it's flooding out the name. That's a problem they got as well. Because we've all been out there multiple times, and Mr. Jones has emailed us all, sent us videos, photos of how it runs, and he's always got a backhoe out there just trying to fix his property. It's a mess.
Wouldn't it, if this reptile buffer zone, if it all works around the waterways, wouldn't that be on the other side of the road where the creek is? I mean, there's a culvert that goes under this, right? Everything it washes off this hill. There's no, well, there is now. It used to just be grass. Now there's ditches, gullies that are this deep.
Well, they dug those gullies. Though.
No, I'm talking about up on hill where when they poisoned everything, it's washing. There's places up there that's 30, 40 foot long that are 2 foot deep.
Wouldn't that be a violation of TDEC itself if they're
I mean,
killing all that vegetation?
that's what it's doing. I mean, it don't take a real smart person. No, you take all the grass off something, it's gonna make a gully. But, I mean, here's where all that should be, and it's all growed up.
Yeah.
And it follows the creek. But let me ask you something real quick. In the very start of this, the house is not in the reptile buffer zone, right? Yeah, well, the reptile.
Right now, if you were to look at my email from Friday, they said it was, and then they came back and corrected it and said, no, it's not.
Okay.
But they didn't tell us how far we could go
Around the
out,
house.
Around the house, and
Yeah.
how to get to the house.
Right, yeah, so it's basically based on that,
We need-
the house is not in
15
that
feet
zone, but being able to get to it is an issue. We could always, just use a helicopter.
Would this all be okay if the house was in a different zone? Is that the problem, main problem? Getting the house
Your main problem right now
planned as
is,
something different?
I mean, if you're looking at it,
I'm looking at the color codes. I see
okay,
the key down.
the green, you didn't want to be in green because that's restricted, meaning
Right.
that you can't tear anything
Right.
down. We're in the open space, the parks and lawn, which
Which
means
is-
that we can.
Why don't we,
No, we should be
why
in
are
the
we
developed. We
area?
should be in the
So-
red. It's a functional house.
It's-
It's always been functional for 200 years. It should be in
Pre-exist,
the
pre-built.
development.
So right now, they still have,
TDEC.
well,
Who's
I'm gonna throw you a little wrench. So you got two key players. You have TDEC, and then you also have the consulting group that the school is paying for that came
new
up with
one.
this.
Is this
The new one?
BDY? Is that the consulting group down here? on the
That
left?
is the consulting group,
This is who the school's paid. And
yes.
when did they, do you know when they hired them, or is this predates this? Is this recent, or is this?
That one, look. I want to say it goes back to 2022, but I cannot guarantee that,
I've been on the board for 3 years. I've never heard of them.
so.
I've never even seen anything.
So this is not the David group. That's a new one.
You have the David group, and then you have another group that's working with it. It's mine.
Okay, this one? Okay.
So it's-
They're working with
Is
the
it a
David.
different one? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so they did
That's
it
the one
and
we
submitted
voted-
to
we voted on
TDEC,
this.
To TDEC.
purposely excluding the house, because there was never a plan for the
Sewer
house.
plant.
So we need to revise this and let TDEC know there's a functional house sitting right there, just needs some repairs, been there for 200 years.
You can talk if you want to, Dale, we got it.
This
It's
is
been
the
so long.
minimal plat.
They already know that. The problem
It was
is
when y'all did your full proposal for the
I mean, you
88
don't know exactly where you're
Okay.
in this process.
Because they're withholding information from us.
Well, no,
They're-
I'll have to check.
changed.
Okay, I'll see what I can find tomorrow.
TDEC's changed what?
They changed that too as well.
They had a high
I'm
staff
not
turnover, so
personally
everybody
voting on
that's
that.
originally associated with this
I've not seen that
project,
come across
whether it's
our
TDEC,
agenda.
Davy Group, they have, or even for us, Sumner County, they have all switched.
Wow.
They've had a high turnover rate.
Oh, just.
It's turnover.
Just coincidentally.
They just
everything
quit.
has changed.
So did you answer the question about the credits? He was gonna ask
Yes.
about that.
What is, explain credits.
Okay, so the credits, debits are, if you are a school, okay, and you build an impervious surface, at that point in time, you're gonna have to offset with the water that was supposed to go
Retention or
there
detention pond.
and put it elsewhere.
Gotcha.
And so that's what they were doing.
So that's
With
what
the
this
zone.
is right here, and that's what this is right here.
The green areas. So basically, it's supposed to go here, and then the water is supposed to run off and go into the green areas. The forested areas.
That's what they killed with all the grass with poison. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
That just,
Okay, that's another problem, because all the water is running southwest.
David, you and I were out there, and there was retention and detention ponds in these
And then
white
every-
areas, weren't there?
Everything is all over here. There's a major waterway that goes under Wolfpack Way right here. Everything
He's
washes.
talking about the natural ones, though, for debits and credits.
You know, it rains here and it moves very slowly because it's not that.
like, where's your house? You're
Right there.
That white.
The white one?
Near the
Yep,
white roof.
that's my roof.
Was that his? The big white square?
Yes.
Or that's the best I can tell, that looks like my house. Everything, there's a little natural waterway that runs right down the side of my yard and back over the back quarter.
Well,
And
so
it
the creek's
runs,
down there, so it
yeah.
makes sense.
And it runs down, it goes across the people directly behind me and dumps right into that little creek right
Yeah,
there.
there you go.
And then our neighborhood's on a little hill. And everything on my side of the neighborhood runs across my backyard. Every drop of rain that comes. I mean, I've had lakes sitting back there. So, I mean, but it all ends up right down the creek.
So when David says we don't know where they are in the process, what is going on right now? Are they revisiting this and trying to remap it and
So,
recolor code it to?
Based on
proper?
our conversation, they are in the process of reviewing the information that Mr. Long has sent, as well as the Davy Group, to them,
Which is
For
what we
review.
need Eric to get access to.
which is what you're asking Eric to get access to.
And we don't know how different they are, the two
Correct.
things. Okay.
All we can do right now is really wait to find out what's coming in, so that's what I was trying to tell him, all your discussions you're having right now, really a moot point to find out where this is going to be. If we enter that property, TDEC's
did
going
vote on it, I
to.
remember.
You weren't in the room when it was asked, this question was asked, but did you by chance ask why we couldn't have access to the information that they're submitting?
Justin was talking to him, my understanding, Justin, tell me if I'm
They just said they
wrong,
couldn't.
they're a new group and they don't have all the information they're trying to find.
You see it right
So they kind of came in and back in, they
brown
know there was
on.
even a discussion. Justin's been sending them email asking for information, they're working with him, but they don't have it.
Is there a handoff being
What does
done
it
by
mean?
BDY to David
It
Group?
means
Are they
it's
working
it's
together?
excluded
That one I don't
from
know
the
exactly,
presentation, the layout.
because I'm not
That'd be
here
another
to-
way to muddy this up is by
It's not
switching
part of it.
people.
It's not part of
But right
the
now,
work they
we don't have
proposed.
to work on the property, so really, anything you
Taking
discuss
that for granted, had no really plan.
Well, tonight, we just wanted for the public to know what's going on, because we were supposed to have
They
a
were
bid opening Monday, and here we
Will
are,
money
like, right behind
to put the grant
And
money
basically on the bid, what
and then
happened
create
was,
that
we
bohemian
found this out
of
two things.
whatever
One,
it
the
was.
scope of what you've got going on now, so we can't bid it. And number two, we don't know how long this is gonna take, a month, a year, 2 years, we don't know. So there's no way to move forward with this bid. so-
Well, I can take a guess how long they want it to take, but.
Hand that to David, would you? That's the
But you're
plat,
not
that's
gonna have
the
any argument.
boundary map that we voted on in April of
Or bid it,
'23.
if they think the
I think that was April of '23.
Well, I have one more question. All the property down there in front of the house and all up the back of it, is that supposed to be? I have a problem with little dots and colors because I'm colorblind. So
The biggest area
All
on there
this-
is green
all this up in here, right, is the
forest.
Forest area.
Where they killed the grass.
yeah, I know, but after they killed it this spring, it is now grow back. It's nothing but weeds, mostly Johnson grass,
About head high.
about head high. Well, they went up there and bush hogged it
When?
about 2 months ago. They bush hogged everything around behind the school, beside the school, and right up to the property of the Brown house, all around it. They did all that.
In the no mowing zone?
In the no, well, the mowing zone, yeah, in
Okay.
between the no
I
mowing
just wanna
zones.
make sure we're
Yeah,
in the
those
same
mowing,
place.
those signs there were there. Of course, depends on how you look at it. All those signs are protecting those little dry gullies, is what I call them, tree lines, whatever. They're all pointing that way on both sides. But they bush hogged everything in between it, so they weren't supposed to do that? Oh, well.
So,
I guess it's who you are, it's what you can do, and get by with it.
marching orders, obviously Eric's gonna get with you so we can get with TDEC to get the information to find out what this memo is about for the May 15th submittal for the aquatic resource alteration permit on May 15th. And find out what all has been submitted, what's been asked for, what triggered this, to try to, at least at this point, public perception is that it's to try to stop us from doing this project, not to help us move along with this project. So I hope we can be proven wrong. So it'd be great to have this information to prove us wrong on that assumption, or prove us right. So I know that's an order. And once, I guess, Eric can find that information out, we'll have more data for you guys to look at. And then we can have another follow-up meeting to make us aware in a couple weeks of what's happening. But any specific questions about this permit that we don't know anything about, this zone, I guess this permit on file, TDEC, anything specific for Dustin or Eric right now, because we got it for another 14 minutes.
I have a question. Does the riparian buffer, is the road in that? Or is, like,
You talking about his driveway? When you say
that-
road, you mean driveway?
The driveway, like getting to the property, getting to the
No,
building.
It's right here.
Is that?
No, you can actually see it
Yeah,
on the map.
Yeah, it's kind of,
It's in the gray area, it's in like nothing land. So the driveway literally goes from nothing to what they're designating as open space for parks and lawn, where the house is sitting. So I don't know if their plan was to bulldoze the house or not. But yeah, that driveway is not included in anything. It's free and clear,
So
at least by this map.
So the only thing that is keeping us from going up that drive is these signs, I guess, right? Keep out.
No, there's nothing keeping us from going in there.
Okay, so we can get to the house.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the question I have, because the driveway's not in this zone. Eric and Justin, correct us wrong, and the house is not in the whatever zone. It's in an open space.
However, if they had to increase the buffer for the email from TDEC, if they had to increase the buffer closer to the house, then they could encroach it
Per the request from Don Long.
due to the debits and credits of building the school.
Well, that would just prove, if
They
they did
can't-
that,
they
that they
can't-
had no intent of ever.
Well, they
fixing
can't
the house.
swallow the house in a credit,
So,
right? To
It's a
do that,
pre-existing
they would have
structure.
to, destroy
1700s.
it.
Predates the state of Tennessee.
I'm just telling you.
I know, don't shoot the messenger, but we're talking about something that predates the state of Tennessee, this plot.
Well, you bring up
I
a
want my
point
question
that has been brought up already. One, let's get over the TDEC hurdle first before we start throwing in the fact that you're wanting to tell us what we can do with the piece of property that existed prior before this law or TDEC existing.
Correct.
So yes, that would be an avenue we would go down, but we gotta get some clarification on this TDEC thing, because we may not need to go down that
Well,
road.
this is my fear, though. Everything they're submitting and talking about for excludes the house. It always has. And if they apply for a credit they need for the schools, they could swallow up that house and that credit, and nobody still knows to this date that that house is there. And now that house is in a zone that can't ever be used because you just put a water trough.
I don't
on the
know,
map
we're
around.
what if in this until TDEC gives us something and I'm able to find out what was submitted.
Jump in there, Dick.
Okay.
okay, let me just say, as a former builder, consultants want to make their customers as happy as they can, and they will bend the rules provided they don't lose their license in the process to make the customer happy. We need a seat at the table with the Davies Group or whatever.
David.
David Group? What? Davis Group.
David Group, right?
Okay.
Folks, maybe.
So, or BDY, whoever, we need to be a part of the conversations because I guarantee you the rules of, there is no riparian buffer zone next to that house. There is no running water. It's a low area that's maybe a little more moist than the land 30 feet away from it.
When it rains.
When it rains. And so we need to be able to control what's going on there as well as the school, because I guarantee you, this is a stall tactic. We are being taken advantage of, and they're counting on the fact that we won't flex our own. And so, Eric, whatever we gotta do to get a seat at the table when these discussions are going on, I'm happy to be at every meeting because I've been through this before.
So I got a question. So the thing that stopped the RFQ process was that this riparian buffer information was not included in their bid information.
Correct.
So they're gonna want that, I assume?
That would be a change of scope, so yes, that should be
Okay.
disclosed to any applicant.
Meaning what? They'll have to work around something, and that's the scope change could be minimal, could
Could be environmental
nothing,
design,
could be a
landscape
lot.
design, landscape engineering, how you put the drive, how you put a parking lot if we need one. It affects all the, put lighting, running electrical utilities if we need to revamp those, sewage, water.
How does it affect electrical and structural?
Well, it's all
of the
existing, I
house?
don't know.
That's what I
Because
don't
if you're
understand.
disturbing dirt, you could be required to put up certain fencing, like silt fencing, stuff like that, because of the buffer.
just
There
spray
could be
chemicals.
extra issues that you have to take into account in how you do the work.
A
not
lot of this
necess-
just doesn't make sense though. Like, why we couldn't just put somebody living in that house?
There used to be a really
Yeah,
pretty
fix my
riparian
house.
buffer
You
around the
can't
house
stop it.
before they built that school there.
Yeah.
So can a riparian buffer be modified to accommodate something, like
That's
a
out of
construction project?
Our scope, we'll have to
That's
ask.
what kicked all this off.
Yeah.
So the question is, you're gonna follow up. I guess we need to find out who can we get as our own consultants to go ahead and do the same thing on our end, just do it. So this is what we're doing. Because we have the codicil on our side, and the house predates the state of Tennessee, approximately, or at the same time thereof. I was like, listen, this is a pre-existing house. It's obviously grandfathered into anything that KDEC ever could do. And we're restoring a home. We're not building anything new. We're not creating an amphitheater. We're literally just restoring an existing home and not adding or detracting from the footprint.
That's what I don't get. I
That's
don't
what's
get it
ridiculous.
because
That's what doesn't make sense about this.
what doesn't make sense to me is how this all went down. When I read this thing, I mean, anybody with a second grade education can read exactly what it says.
We know what literacy
It
levels are like
says
in
the
this
county gets the $500,000. The rest of it goes to the schools. For some reason,
The
they
money.
botched it all up. They put it all together. There had to be some plan for doing that. But this is very clear. The county gets the sum of $500,000 to establish and maintain a public park at 212 Hunters Lane with a historic home situated thereon, being permanently maintained by the county, not the schools, the county as the park's centerpiece.
Well, that's a good
So
question.
why
How does the
not?
school have any authority?
Why can't they? Why is someone trying to stall the county from maintaining this building? That's what I don't understand. Well,
I think if they thought
You know.
if they could just shuffle it to the back, put it in the background,
yeah.
get all the money in one account, and then not ever have to think about again, maybe if the house would get struck by lightning, maybe the house would burn down, maybe something would happen by the time again, they wouldn't have to even worry about it.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I know there at one point there was information being propagated that the $500,000 was supposed to be part of the principal of the school. They're what they got, and that was the only money that could be spent out of the principal. That was false. That was not true.
Who propagated that?
I believe the director of schools. So that was not true. It was, at no time was that true. It was always intended to be a separate deal.
Correct.
So my question is, why can't we, if we have
The authority.
the authority to do it, why can't we just get in there and do it? you know, that's my question. That doesn't make sense to me, so.
The question is, how can TDEC stop us from doing it? I guess that would be the question. Because of the will, the codicil of the house, grandfathered in, pre-existing, the road's already there. Like, how can TDEC prevent us from doing that technically?
That's what I'm saying. If it was
I don't
my
understand.
house-
I guess we're pushing back. It's still, nobody can come to an illogical conclusion of understanding that we hear what you're saying, but it doesn't, none of it makes sense. So we're asking, how can they stop us?
Right,
from doing
because
it?
if it's your house or my house, we would just do it. It's
Well,
just changed ownership.
But I mean, I understand you're talking about credits and stuff, but this house, I just don't get it. How do they have the authority to do it, is my question.
I mean, if you're looking at the authority, I mean, if you go back to that sign, it says, you know, there could be fines. Now, they have not fined anybody yet, and we don't know exactly what could transpire from it.
But can we find out what the fines are? And
What sign?
So,
Well, I'm on the school board. Can I not go up in there if it's from the school board? I mean,
If what's from the school board,
those signs that say keep out.
well, I'd love to know who planted them.
I mean, if
There's one way
I'm
to
on the
find
school
out.
board,
I'll
school
find
board
out.
owns
Go
that
take them up and
property.
see who screams.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, you know, if you're an owner of a property, you put out a no trespassing sign, it doesn't apply to you, you're the owner. You know, so I
No, I don't disagree with your y'all's stance on working on the house. My only problem is this: I do not want to run afoul of any of the work that the county's doing, messing with TDEC and what they say we can and can't do, because I don't want to be spending money on something
Well,
that's
sure,
a
that's why we're trying to
waste.
figure out what authority TDEC has to, knowing that.
They have authority because somebody that owns the property already went out there and said, hey, tell us what we can do. And TDEC said, here's your boundaries. Now we're having to figure out where exactly those boundaries affect this house and if it can be moved.
So I guess we're asking you, as since we are co-owners of everything and have equal right to say the same thing to TDEC, to push back
Exactly.
the exact
Yes.
opposite. So I guess we're asking you to go do that for us.
Yes. But I'm just trying to get us past this, well, we'll just go right down there tomorrow and start working on this house. That's the only part we're trying to sidestep here. Because we have just as much right as a county going onto that property as the school board does.
Here's what's in process, and I know you guys have to go. This gal that I talked to at TDEC today, she said, we are waiting for the consultant to bring a revised plan into us. When is that going to be? I don't know, we don't know, whenever it shows up. It
Well,
could be
that could, or
tomorrow.
they could stonewall that for a year, so I guess we need to.
Absolutely, and then I
move forward
said,
our own consultant.
how much time do you have as TDEC to, when do you expect to turn it around? She says, we don't know until we see what they bring. So, if they are sincerely trying to redesign the waterways,
It's been 4 months and no
and
action.
there's been no action, we need to bring this to a head.
So, okay, all right. So Dustin was just sharing with me, he's got a penciled in drawing of where the house is. Although the house is right on the white zone, it backs up to the green, but it is in the white. It's an access issue, you interrupted me if I'm saying something wrong. It's an access issue of where we go in and out, and it could be across that green, it could be in the white. We don't know yet.
Right
So-
now, we know, we don't go in the.
Right, we just don't go to the green,
Gray
we
and
go to the
white.
white, make our own access point, go through the
but we
white.
don't know.
But we also don't know what he's doing when he applied for a change in this. And I say, who cares what he's doing? We operate with what we have and go in there with where we know we can go.
Why we care is because they can change it for the worse.
We still proceed with trying to figure out where they're changing it. And like you said, we have a seat at the table and say, no, that doesn't work for us. That may work for you, but we got a plan here.
Right.
It's already been voted on by the whole commission. We're proceeding with this. You gotta do something else.
Right.
That's where we get the seat at the table, but it shouldn't stop what we're doing because we have just as much authority as they do, if not more. I would say more, because we're charged with the caretaking of this house.
Not just the house,
ongoing,
but the 85-acre park
the
too.
ongoing maintenance, not the push pause for 8 years, let it fall apart, and then start maintaining after the fact. We should have been taking care of it all this whole time. We should be doing it now.
Well, they gotta go, I know. Anything else for us right now? I guess, any further comments or closing comments?
I mean,
Well, Dustin and I will talk to TDEC and I'll get some more firm answers. I have not been a party to the conversation. I've been a sounding board for questions more than anything, but I will participate in the next one. And I'll make it very clear to them also that if they can submit a packet, then we can sit here and tell you to pull it.
Well, there we go.
So that's gonna be very much my stance when I have this conversation with TDEC.
And the
But
fact
I
that they're,
still need clarity before y'all start
But-
throwing money at this thing.
But also, they need to know that if this doesn't interfere with our plan, we're leaving it alone and we're going on. We're not gonna wait anymore.
They don't care as long as we don't violate the buffer.
That's what I'm saying, and this is what
Why would I
TDEC is
tell them?
okayed right now, right?
I don't know. I have to find out because they've got something submitted. They're not gonna get into lockstep with us until they've done this whole process.
But this is BDY's, here's what they say. We need to find out from TDEC what they say is current, right? And we're gonna get from.
We're gonna have to
TDEC.
make sure everything comes together.
So we want current from TDEC, where the zones are, and we also want whatever they've submitted. We want two things, right?
Right there.
Yes,
If current from
I get all that.
TDEC, okay, that's what you're working on
Is this all
tomorrow.
fair?
Yes.
And if current from TDEC doesn't
this area?
interfere, tell them we're a hard
This
stop
is
on
really good
everything
question.
else, and we're gonna keep on going.
That's
You're
gonna be what I
looking at
throw
it,
out there. I'm
but
gonna
we
try and
don't
throw
know.
a
Big
wrench in
question
the
mark
works.
is,
Because
whatever
if they can
leads
take an
submitted
application because
could
they're an
increase it
owner,
this
then they
way,
can
so
stop
we're
it
still
because we're an owner.
correct.
So
And the
what
school
we're
board
needing
didn't
is
didn't authorize
Eric
anything. The
to
county commissioners
contact
already approved
TDEC
everything needs
and
to
see
be
what's
approved.
been
This is
submitted.
rolling, so
So there-
we don't have
these
to, I mean, it's not, we
submitted
gotta get,
changes in
sit in
what
chambers and
changes
debates for
are.
another 2
The
hours. The
codicil,
school board doesn't.
yeah, the codicil should
So
be.
I think you have full authority to go
I
ahead and
don't
do this.
disagree with any of that. My only hiccup on all of this is TDEC and their stance right
I
now.
would take the codicil with you to.
Well, it sounds like
prove that
we know somebody.
I don't,
pulled
the
a pin on
codicil, look, TDEC doesn't care.
They need to know that we have.
They do not care.
Authority and charged with.
They'll see it on the deed, and
Maintenance
if the schools had to submit a deed, they'll get that. And I don't mind sending them a deed, but at the end of the day, if you own the property, they don't care.
It's joint ownership.
They don't care.
No,
It's
I'm
like,
asking,
it's
it
much
is, right?
like the, yes, it's joint
Joint
ownership.
of the property.
And it's just like whoever brought up the checking account analogy. If you have access to the fund, if we're both on it, we both have equal access to all the funds.
Okay.
it. We can both close the account.
Okay, so he's
All
gonna
right.
find that out
Yeah.
tomorrow early and.
Well, I'm
He's gonna start the
kick
process.
it off. I'd like to
You
get
might
home
not get an answer
first.
tomorrow. I can't.
I'm
You're late.
asking about next meeting, whenever he finds out something. We're up against Labor Day. It's gonna be a lot of people
We have a-
leaving early tomorrow.
Assuming this ad hoc doesn't get canceled.
Well, it's a state agency. It's Friday before Labor Day, so I'm sure they'll all be there hopping and skipping ready to work, so.
That's what I said early.
All right, I got a motion to adjourn.
And number two,
Second.
it would never tell us.
All in favor, say aye. All right.
Or how far away from the house. we are.
Oh, so, surrounding the house.
Surrounding the house, we don't know how large.
That is.
That is.